Assalamu alaikum students of 4 class. Take out your books. Unit number 3. Chapter name is Anansi and 5. Anansi and 5. Page number 26. This is a folk story, folk talk. It's a story about Anansi. And Anansi is a bad character basically who doesn't care about anybody else. And the moral of this story is greed will bring us trouble. Okay, so we are starting our reading now. Once upon a time, long ago, there lived a creature meaning an animal, beast, or living thing, called Anansi. Sometimes Anansi was a spider, sometimes he was a man, and other times he was a strange mix of two. Anansi was a trickster and he was having a difficult time. He had no money to buy food for his family. As he walked around the village, one morning he had a scrawl on his face and a growl in his stomach. Okay, scrawl mean an angry expressions on his face and growl in his stomach. Bay, low guttural sound. Passing by a neighbor's house, Anansi heard something that pleased him. The neighbor was an old witch. She was an angry and unpleasant witch who became furious whenever anyone said her name. She hated her name. All her life, people had laughed or looked surprised when they heard what her name was. Can you guess what her name was? It was 5. Anansi peeked through a gap in a witch's fence. She was stirring her big cooking. Next page, turn on page number 27. Okay. She was stirring her big cooking pot and muttering and mumbling on a spell. The smoke and sparks were blue and green, so Anansi knew she was cooking up some big magic. Suddenly, she snatched up her staff and started to pound it on the ground. As she walked around the pot, Anansi listened carefully to what she said. I curse anybody who says the word 5 to disappear forever. Anansi rubbed his hands together and jumped around on his 8 hairy legs. Ah, this could make me some money or get some food on the table for my family. He smiled widely and his sharp teeth sparkled. Anansi rushed to the path that ran along the river bank between the village and the marketplace. Soon everyone who was going to the market would walk past. They would be on their way to buy the delicious yams, beets, pulses, and grains that would be piled high in the market. Next paragraph. Anansi set to work and piled up 5 mounds of earth near the path. They looked just like he had planted 5 yams. Then he sat down and waited. First to come by was little Mrs. Rabbit. She carried a basket full of sweet potatoes pieces and walked slowly because it was heavy. Anansi stepped forward and smiled. That looks like a big weight. Please rest a while and help me. I don't know how to count, so I cannot tell how many yams I have planted. Mrs. Rabbit was kind, so she stopped. She put down her basket and hopped along. Anansi glooped down the row counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In a flash and a bang, Mrs. Rabbit disappeared. Anansi glooped down the whole basket of sweet potato in seconds. He licked his lips and sat down again to wait. Not long after, he heard little footsteps on the path and looked up. It was Mr. Duke. He walked along with his chest held high, and his feet made a slip-slap sound on the path. He had a bag with his lunch in it by his side. Mr. Duke stopped when he saw Anansi and asked him how he was. Anansi put, turn on page number 28 now. Anansi put on a glum expression. Mr. Duke, I have no idea how to count my young plants. Can you help me, please? Mr. Duke bobbed his head and puffed out his chest even further. Well, Anansi said, it's a quite simple. Start with one, then it's two, three, four, and five. Mr. Duke disappeared. Instantly, Anansi ate up the lunch. Now I know you will be wondering about Anansi's family. Did he think about them? Did he save any food for them? No, he didn't. He ate everything without thought about any of them. Next to come along on her way to the market to buy some tasty treats was Miss Frog. She didn't stop when Anansi called after her, Hey, please help me count my plants. She laughed. No way, count them by yourself. She called over her shoulder as she hopped away. It didn't bother Nancy too much because he knew there would be plenty more chances for him to try his trick out. He imagined what delicious food he would find. He didn't imagine taking any to his hungry children. He was going to eat as much as he could fit in his stomach and then come back and try the trick again on another day. A squalling sound pulled Nancy out of his daydream. It was Mrs. Shrew. On her tiny back, she had a huge load of freshly made pies that she was hoping to sell. The load was 3 times her size, and her face was red from the effort she was making. Oh, Lady Shrew, how nice to see you. Sit a while and rest. I need your help to count my plants, and you can share your wisdom with me. And Nancy grinned and showed all his sharp teeth. He was trying hard to be charming because he really wanted to eat all the pies.